Alright guys, here is another project I thought would be fun to do. You just need some cardboard. I just used some cardboard from our recycling bin. You can do any size you want. You need a piece of cardboard, some glue. You can use any kind of string. So I've got some yarn, but you might have any other kind of string around your house. You could even get scraps of paper if you wanted to and roll them up. You just want something solid to glue down. So you could do like strips of paper or even like small little sticks. And I'm talking small sticks, like toothpick size. And glue this down. Because you want something to be sticking up, and I'll show you why later. But if you've got the string, that's great. Any kind of string will do. It'll be easier that way. You could actually just use glue, but it takes longer to dry. So I like to use the string. So what you're going to do, you're going to take your glue, and you're just going to make some very fluid lines, and I missed it back here, so I'm going to go back and grab it. You could make shapes if you wanted to. You know, my daughter's done this, and she made a heart with it. I'm going to have this match right back up there. So then, I've got my glue. I'm going to put my yarn down and just follow that line. If you were doing this with sticks, you'd probably have very straight lines, and that's just fine too. Or toothpicks, paper, if you did a paper pieces underneath instead of yarn, those might be kind of straight. But you'll have an idea of what we're doing once we get to the next step. Why we're doing what we're doing, I should say. So I'm just letting the yarn fall in the glue, and then I'm tapping it down. And I'm not smashing, I'm not smooshing, I'm just tapping it into that glue. That's all it needs. I have quite a gob of glue over here. And just putting it in. Almost there. Okay, then I'm going to cut my extra off. Oops. And I'm going to carefully press down. I got glue on me. That's okay. So, in your project, after you glue it, you're going to let it dry for about an hour or two, just so that that glue holds on. So that the yarn holds on, I should say. Now, I did this one last night, right over a coupon. Your next thing you would need is some foil. I'm going to lay the foil down. Hey, Rylan, will you give me a Q-tip from my bathroom? And I'm going to cover my cardboard with the foil, just wrapping it. And I'm getting these folds on the back side where my yarn is not glued down. And you can just press it down. However, it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, now this next step, we're trying to get that yarn to show up. Thank you. You can use a Q-tip or you can just use your fingers to get these shapes to show up. See how my yarn's starting to show up here? I don't really know where it's at, so I'm kind of going gentle. And you're just pressing down all around. Where that yarn is. You could also glue down your foil. Let's do that quick. I think that might make things a little easier. So I'm going to put some glue in here. You don't need a whole lot. Elmer's goes a long way. So I'm getting in there inside of all those spots. Artist problem solve. When something isn't working out, you think of another way of doing it. And that's why we do art. Not because we're all going to be artists one day, but because we're all going to have to problem solve through things. Art is a perfect way of learning a lot of those problem solving skills. Okay, so instead of folding it down right away, I put my glue on. I'm just going to let the foil sit on top and then go over it. And if you don't have a Q-tip, use your finger. Just don't get your fingernail in there, or it will tear the foil. And you can see it's starting to grab onto that glue. Foil is such a fun material. You can paint on it, you can draw on it, you can use it as a covering. I have made many things out of cardboard and then covered them with foil to give it a metal look. I like folding with it. You see how my shape's starting to come through a little bit? Now in like professional art materials, they have a tooling foil where it's a little bit thicker and you have these metal tools, a lot like this Q-tip, but it's made out of metal. So then you can get in there and you can really start sculpting on that metal. This kind of gives us the idea of that kind of art without having to have those materials with us at home. So rubbing all in there. Kind of therapeutic. Lets my brain rest while my hands work. Okay, and now I'm going to carefully fold this down. And then if you have markers nearby, paint, you could use acrylic or tempera. The acrylic's going to be pretty solid Tempera will be good because you can kind of see through. When you're doing anything with foil, it's kind of fun to have it be a little see-through so you can see the shininess behind it. So I've got my favorite Mr. Sketch. I'm going to just color in those spaces. You can pick a color scheme to start with, or you can just have at it. Mr. Sketch has the added bonus of scents. This one, I have no idea what this is supposed to smell like. Lime, maybe? So when you're laying your yarn down, you could do a shape. You can do hearts. Star would be kind of hard because it's very straight, exact lines, and that's hard to get with yarn unless you're pretty patient. And I guess we could all be really patient. What else do we have to do right now besides be patient? Oh, I'm going to put some over here. I'm making all these small little areas the same color so then they've got sort of a connection. Sharpies work well for this too. Crayolas probably work well, but you don't want to touch them right away. Crayola is very water-based, which makes them a great crayon or great tool for being washable, but they don't always stay on things the best. And you could decide if you wanted your colors to meet right there or if you want the silver to stick through. I want the silver to stick through. I'm going pretty random. That one smells good. It doesn't tell me what it is either. I thought they told you what they smelled like. Now it looks like this pink doesn't go all the way around, but it goes about halfway around. Now, it's just the scissors, we're okay. Ooh, that orange looks pretty cool on the foil. I'm trying not to touch my colors because I know it's going to take them a little bit longer to dry on the foil than they would on the paper. Paper's very absorbent. It's like a sponge and it pulls in the dyes from your markers, but the foil, it's just going to kind of sit on top for a while. There. Easy peasy, but it's still kind of cool. These would be pretty hanging in the window because they would reflect your light. Very simple. You go from a piece of cardboard from your recycling bin and some yarn and glue it down in any shape you want. And remember, we added that step where we put glue around your yarn after it was dry. And then we put our foil in. You can use a Q-tip to smush your foil down around your yarns. And then fold your foil over the back and then color it however you want using markers or paints. Watercolors would be kind of cool on it. Just kind of experiment and see what you like. Alright guys, happy creating!